Hello and welcome to Scene on 7. I'm Patricia Mitchell and I'll be here with you as we glide through an hour that is bound to provide something of interest for everyone, as yet again the WMtv crews have been out wandering the streets, covering the stories that are of interest to you, and to prove the point, here's a soupçon of what is coming up. Corinne Kent finds a source of alcohol on WMTV's doorstep. Steve Hyland discovers the people of Feltham's reaction to the yob culture. We take a look at what will soon be Maidenhead's new art centre. And Ben Castle talks to Tony O'Rourke about the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal. And in the studio, we'll discover who's been watching whom in Slough with the very latest in closed-circuit television, why you should be making your guy for bonfire night now, what makes the Windsor Half Marathon so special. There's 3-to-1's new video and the Cable Corporation competition, where you could win free cable television for a whole year. Now, to start the programme in a jolly way, we're glad to say that after her deep relaxation at the Hydro Spa last week, Corinne Kent has discovered relaxation of another kind in the form of alcohol. A WMtv crew went along with her to Chiltern Valley Wines to help her keep her spirits up.
For years, we've been led to believe that French wine equals great wine, that for true depth of flavour, grapes need to ripen in the constant heat of the sun. So it would be impossible for England to have vineyards, right? Wrong. Generally accepted that Romans first brought the grapevine to Britain, but it wasn't until after the Second World War that experimental vineyards were set up to discover which varieties actually suited the English climate. So what adaptations actually had to be made? We asked Albert McMahon at Chiltern Valley Wines. What's the difference between English and French vineyards?
Many differences. Our vineyards are in the main based on a Geneva double curtain principle of growth. That's a generalization, but the style of growing grapes over here means that we have to create a canopy which gives the grape both protection from the weather and also increases the amount of daylight that's incident on the vine itself. And because the leaf is the sugar factory, that is, it ripens the grape, not daylight incident on the grape, then the more sunlight you have incident on the leaf, or just daylight, the better the result will be. In Bordeaux, for example, if you visit a vineyard there, their grapes are grown in, on plants that are much, much lower. The vineyard itself could be only 18 inches in height, but much, much more densely packed. Whereas our vines will grow up to between 5 and 6 feet, which means that when you're harvesting, you do have the grapes at a much higher level, which avoids having to stoop, and it makes it much easier. We're much lazier, basically.
There are 400 vineyards covering nearly 2,000 acres in England, Wales and the Channel Islands. In 1992, production was 3.5 million bottles. Obviously they're doing something right. But what about the wine?
British wine is very different from English wine. British wine is from a concentrate as opposed to growing grapes in the first place. The concentrate is obviously made from grapes, but it's normally imported from other countries. As a concentrate, it's then diluted with water and possibly sugar or alcohol, and it creates a drink. I'm loath to call it a wine, but it does create what is loosely called a wine, and bears no resemblance to a good English wine at all. It's, I mean, for those of you that have tried the two, you'll know there is a major difference between the two. English wines are made from English-grown grapes, and the whole process is making wines from start to finish, not simply taking a concentrate as you would, say, orange squash and adding water to it and drinking it like that. And that's really the difference. Well, there's a huge difference in those two products.
Although England's knowledge and expertise in the field is widely renowned, English wine itself is woefully underpromoted. So what is its reputation in the industry? I'm here with John Kemp from Bordeaux Direct. He's going to fill me in on some of the little minor details. Now, John, you've been a wine taster for some time, so what is English wine's reputation in the industry?
The reputation is good, but a lot of people don't actually know very much about the wines that English vineyards are actually producing. There's a wide variety, but people just haven't had the opportunity to taste or have perhaps just blocked their minds to the idea.
So we're actually going to be trying some wines today. Now, we've all heard of all the different wine techniques. I mean, some of them are really over the top, and I, for one, get a little bit intimidated. I just figure I won't bother. So what is the proper wine tasting technique?
Really, simply take a wine, any wine you like. We're talking about a white wine to start with today. And really, get yourself a reasonable amount of wine in the glass, and actually, if you can choose a glass which actually tapers towards the top, that actually concentrates the nose of the wine. So that if you get the opportunity, just swill it around, like that, that's right. And then take a really deep breath. And you get a smell, It could be, to you, it could be pineapples, it could be a taste of sweets, it could be a taste of asparagus, it could be all sorts of different things.
Oh, pineapple, yes.
Yeah, and this one particularly, yes, very pineapple-y.
It's funny, though, because if you hadn't given me the vocabulary, it wouldn't have occurred to me. I thought I was at a loss. So, I mean, are there set kind of words that people use, or is it become this kind of inventive area where it's like, no, it's not pineapple, it's hot sneakers on melting tarmac, and, you know...
All of those things are fine, but they're very subjective. And I could say to you, this is very pineapple-y. You may say, absolutely not. To me, it's much more like a sort of newly mown grass. And you wouldn't be wrong, and I wouldn't be right. You know, it's very much what you find in the glass yourself.
So there's no kind of standard, like, say...
No, there shouldn't be either. There really shouldn't. It should be very much how you find the wine yourself. And that's the best way to describe it. So, you know, after you smell the wine, definitely taste it. And with that, never just take a sip.
Oh,
just always take more than a sip, because if you just take a sip, it will affect the front of the tongue and may make it taste quite acidic to you. If you take a full mouthful, you can get it right round the mouth, and the whole tongue experiences the flavour.
Now, was that an English wine?
That was, yes. Yes, it was.
I mean, is there a way... I mean, obviously, German wines and French wines all have their kind of characteristics. I mean, can you actually spot an English wine, a different English wine in a different vineyard?
Right.
And be able to say, OK, well, this one's Chiltern Valley, or this one's that one.
There's certainly a style, just like there is in France. Within the Loire, you will have different sorts of white wines from area to area. In England, you've got exactly the same, because you've got exactly the same things affecting the wines. You have the climate, you have the soils, and you have the way the winemaker actually makes the wine. So all of those things, and the grape type, can give a variety of flavours to a wine. So it's very difficult sometimes to actually, when you see people doing blind tastings, it's not always easy to tell where the wine's from. You can usually get a detection of its age, and you can get a detection of where it's from, maybe, and perhaps what grape type it's made from, but there's no hard and fast rules.
OK, about the age, is it... How can you tell if it's a young wine or an old wine?
Right. If you, for example, on a red...
We've decided you're going to educate me now.
Right. On a red, we've taken here Lamberhurst Red 1992. The way to detect simply on a red wine whether it's quite young or quite old is to make sure you've got a bright white background, perhaps on the table, such as we have there. And actually, without pouring it all over the table, is to actually look at the colour of the wine. And you'll see on this one, 1992, it's still quite young, as wines go. It's got a very purpley colour. Now, if I had a 1970 Chateauneuf de Pape from the Rhône in France, you would have a really orangey sort of brick colour to the wine. And the more orange, the more brown that the wine gets, generally that is an indication of its age. So if you get an orangey wine, it could well be from the 60s or the 70s.
Wow, well, a red wine could be orange.
Yeah, yes, in its actual colour.
So it doesn't mean it's off.
No.
So it means
Not
it's quality. It means
necessarily.
you've bought a good wine.
Indeed.
You spend £100, £200 or something, right? Okay.
But when you this year, when the Beaujolais comes round in November, you'll get the wine, open it up, put the wine against a white background, and you will see it is vibrantly purple because it's very young.
Yeah.
So the purpler, the younger, orange, more brown, the old age on the wine.
Obviously, there's a lot to see at a vineyard. It's a fascinating business to be in. And obviously, we would love people to come and look at Chiltern Valley whenever they're available, at the time. It's an interesting sort of industry to look at the detail of, because there's so much mystique and so many misconceptions about English wine and vineyards in general that we dispel just by taking people on a guided tour.
Not only can English wine be great wine, but an English vineyard is the only place where you can drink and buy wine throughout an entire Sunday afternoon. Worth investigating, don't you think?
If you'd like to find out more about local English vineyards, give Chiltern Valley Wines at Henley a call on 0491 638 330. That's 0491 638 330. And if you can correctly answer the question, if a wine is purple, is it young or old? That's if a wine is purple, is it young or old? You could receive a 3-pack of wine. And you can actually pick the bottles that you want to go into the pack. And you can get that from Chiltern Valley Wines after you've had a free tour. The number to phone is our freebies hotline, which is 081 476 6355. And that number will be appearing again at the end of the programme. And the bottles that are appearing now is ones that you could actually pick if you get to go on the free tour and pick the wines for yourself. One winner will be chosen at random, and if you missed the answer to the question, you'll just have to watch the programme again. Vineyards and winemaking isn't something that is essentially English, but something that is Guy Fawkes Night and Bonfire Night. This year it might be an idea to think about making your Guy now in preparation for the new fireworks fiesta at Windsor Racecourse on Saturday the 8th of October. And here to talk about it is Paul Fraser. Welcome to the studio, Paul. I'll just put this down just in case we get tempted in the middle of our chat to open that up. Now, how long have you actually been doing the firework fiesta at Windsor Racecourse for?
Well, the fireworks in Windsor we've been doing for about 30 years, and at the racecourse about 10 to 15.
And I gather that the racecourse actually kindly donates the evening to you, is that right?
Yes, we hope and pray every year that they'll still let us free of charge.
Right.
We never know from one year to the next whether we can have it, but they're very generous.
Right,
so.
that's good. And now tell me about this Guy competition, because I gather that the whole evening is obviously on the Guy Fawkes theme and Bonfire Night, and you're actually doing a Guy Fawkes competition. Yeah,
it's something that we've never done before, and we thought we'd give it a shot. We need as many guys as possible from people in the area. A very good incentive there. A first prize for the best guy to be judged by the Mayor of Windsor, and the round table chairman will be a 14-inch colour television, and the first 50 entrants we're giving a free calculator to. So it's worth.
So get there quick.
Indeed.
And when will that actually be judged?
The gates open at 5:30, and the judging will be at 8:30. So you'll need to be there by at least 6:30, really.
Right.
To get it on display.
So people have got a few weeks to get their guys together.
Yes. Not too long, though.
Yeah, exactly. You better start thinking about it about now. Now, you've got loads of things going on at your firework fiesta. I was actually quite amazed when I ran through the things that you've got on offer. And you've got things like, you've got show bags as well, haven't you?
Yeah. In fact, the idea has been to give more people more reasons to go, and one was the show bags. I'd like to show you just a couple of things that we've got. We've been in touch with many local companies, and we've come up with lots of freebies, from Mars to Penguin Books to Weller hair care people, and the idea is with all of this equipment or goodies that we're hoarding in, we bag up, it'll have a value of anything between £5 and £15, and we'll be selling these bags for £1 or £2, perhaps a little bit more depending on the contents.
So basically, it's not like one of those sort of raffles where you go in and you may or you may not win something. If
That's
you
right.
actually go and buy one of these show bags, you are bound to win something. I mean,
Oh,
you're
indeed,
bound
yeah.
to get more out of it than you put in it in a
Indeed.
financial sense.
You'll know what you're buying.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're not sure how many bags to have, but we're hoping for in excess of 500 bags. So there's quite a lot of things to buy.
So that's absolutely great. Now, also, you've also got sort of a fun fair. Is that right?
Yeah, we've had a fun fair every year. We've got a little bit more space at the racecourse this year, so we're hoping for a much bigger fun fair and once again giving more people more reasons to go. So there's going to be far more attractions than we've ever had.
And how do people get there?
Obviously by car, we've got a car park there that takes up to, I think it's 1,500 cars, and something we've never had before either is there's going to be a ferry service operating from Windsor, and the pick-up point is opposite the old Trouts public house
Yeah.
by the river. So the ferry service starts at 5:30.
Well, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
That will make the whole evening even more special, won't it?
I
Really?
hope so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And are they taking people back again?
Yes, they are. Yeah. In fact, we have an arrangement where they will not stop the ferry service, even if there's just one person left to go back. They will have a ferry to get home on. So,
Oh, that's good, because that's always my fear, that I'm going to get stuck
Yeah.
somewhere and
no,
one's going to be there
we'll
to
look
take me
after
home.
you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad this lot won't, so I'm glad somebody is. Now, also, the proceeds to this. Tell us about where the money that you raise is actually going to.
Right, it's going to the Thames Valley Adventure Playground on the Bath Road in Taplow. They actually need about £110,000 per year to run this playground, which they have for children with disabilities. And we're obviously raising as much money as we can. We would hope for about £5,000 or £6,000, depending on attendance, of course,
Yes.
and the success of the show bags. And that will go towards the running of the playground.
And how much does a ticket actually cost?
Children are £1.50, adults are £3, or for 2 adults and 2 children, you can save £1.50 and buy a family ticket for £7.50.
So you're catering for families and
Indeed.
individuals.
The emphasis this year is on value for money. We're trying to, it's another reason to give people more reasons to come along. So,
Well, there's lots on offer, and it sounds like I'm going to be there.
Well, make sure
that
you
might
are.
put people off, though. Have to be careful what you say, really, don't you? Anyway, thanks very much. Now,
That's all
Paul has actually set a competition for us, and we'll be giving away tickets for the firework fiesta. We're actually going to be giving away 10 family tickets, which, as we said earlier, was 2 adults and 2 children, as well as 5 pairs of adult tickets. Now, the question that you have to answer is, where does the firework fiesta ferry leave from? Is it A, the Old Trout, B, the Donkey House, or C, Eaton Bridge? Now, the telephone number to call, if you know, is 081 476 6355. And I'd like to thank Paul for kindly donating those tickets to us. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Now, in light of John Major's comments regarding the yob culture and the government's recent declaration that they will be stopping holidays for juvenile offenders in preference for work in the community, Steve Hyland wanted to find out what you, the WMtv viewer, thought about the youth of today.
Steve Hyland.
A lot of talk at the moment in the press about thugs. We've already had the big fight last Saturday, of course, where the whole thing disrupted and fell into just nothing more than a riot. The government have mentioned that they're already looking at doing things to help the youth of the day, but is there really a major problem? Are we actually bringing up a yob culture? We're in Feltham today and we're asking that as a question of finding out how we'd resolve the problem.
I'm an ex-army man, and like the army, you've got to have discipline. Otherwise, you can't run a regiment, you couldn't run a war, and you can't run the country. And I say, honestly, these kids are doing it just for being sort of brave. I'm better than you, sort of job. That didn't happen in my school days. I'm 93 years of age, and when I was at school, if we had a bit of a fight, it was with our hands and not knives.
There's not enough jobs for young people to do, particularly in this town. There's not enough entertainment for the young kids. There's no place for them to go. The nightlife is around the streets, Ken's vlogger. There is no entertainment for the kids these days.
Well, I think there is a lack of discipline, yeah, with the youngsters, but generally I don't think they're any, you know, they're all right. I've got 4 boys, 4 different boys, all different.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk at the moment. We saw the big fight the other night on the television where the whole thing disrupted into complete violence, and there seems to be more and more of that at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think, to be fair, it's the media is quick now. I mean, all of a sudden there's a disaster in somewhere along the other side of the world, and it's news here, isn't it? I think it's all been brought to our attention. You know what I mean?
So perhaps the problem isn't as great, but you reckon it's probably the media actually bringing it to the focus a lot quicker.
Well, I think it's fair to do so. I mean, this Charlie boy, I mean, they've been doing that for years, haven't they? I mean, if we done it, we got our knuckles wrapped. I mean, oh, Charlie, them kings and queens have been at it for years, haven't they? I mean, they're terrible, aren't they? I mean, they stand in judgment on everybody else, and I mean, they're the bloody world's worst, aren't they? So that ain't the kids, is it? I mean, look at this Charlie, couldn't be more privileged. They're all as thick as parrots, aren't they? If they had to go and get a living, they'd be banging trouble, wouldn't they?
I witnessed a mugging in the centre the other day.
And there was a bomb scare next to the charity shop a couple of weeks ago.
2 youths just attacked this man and stole his money and ran off.
I mean, what do you think we can do about it?
Well, I couldn't do anything.
But I mean, you're a parent. The responsibility
I don't know.
starts with
Yes,
you.
it does
I mean,
start
do you
at
think
home.
parents have lost control at the moment?
Yeah. Yes, basically. Yeah.
Kids are awful.
So what would you recommend to parents? I mean, what would you say to the government? What would you tell them to do at the moment?
Well, more discipline at school. Bring back the birch, I think.
Yeah.
The voice of reason, eh? What we're asking questions about is whether you think there's a yob culture or not growing up. I mean, you're the people a lot of people are pointing fingers at.
Yeah.
They're saying that the kids of today are out of control. What do you think?
Asking.
What do you think?
They're just doing it to, like, act hard and just trying to be big and all this. And, like, some of them just don't know what it means and all this. Just want to, you know, act big.
Is it just been acting big? I mean, some people have said it's because there's nowhere for the kids to go today.
No,
that's true?
That's really no excuse if you ask me. People are getting hurt and, like, people, like, there's all these sort of gangs and stuff like that, and people getting bullied, stuff like that, innit? Like, they don't even want to go to school, so they've got nothing else to do except for, you know, just turn into yobs and that.
I mean, do you feel that there could be more things done for the younger people and also the supposed jobs that we do have about today to actually stop the trend?
Only by having more youth clubs and things for the youth to keep them off the streets from running around and that sort of thing and causing trouble and doing damage, yeah.
Well, tell me, do you think we've actually got a problem in society at the moment as far as you're?
Oh, I think we've got a problem, all right.
Oh,
definitely. Definitely.
I mean, what would you do to resolve it?
Well,
Big
I don't
question,
really. It is a big question. I don't really know what we can do, what we can do about it. It's getting a very big problem everywhere. I think, not just.
Would you think that things like national service or anything like that, bringing that back? Because I mean, a lot of people we speak to say yes, it's a great idea, but they can't remember it.
Yes, stick them in the army, and that's what I say. Yes.
And let them sort it out there.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Well, they're talking what?
A load of, yeah.
No, but seriously, I mean, but that's exactly the sort of...
Yeah, we don't go running around like that.
Yeah, we don't smash everything up,
vandalising
do we?
everything.
TV.
We're only from school, look.
What's she saying? WMtv. What's that then? What's that on?
Well, I'll tell you what...
Sky or something?
It's on the cable, yeah. It's on the cable channel,
this is who
Oh,
we
that's
wanted to
great.
speak to about yobs and all that.
Are you a bit of a yob then?
No, not me,
Mr.
mate.
Michael Norton.
Yeah, not me, mate. All right.
No? Do you feel sometimes that the sort of attitude that you're... do you think
No, this is
Well, this is
no. I
felt
don't
in
think
many
it's
ways,
smart
so
at
it
all.
don't really
They shouldn't.
felt.
Oh, smash the windows and that. No graffiti. None of that business. No.
Oh, Michael.
Are you looking for somebody at the moment? Because I'm a bit taller than you. I probably can see them. Are you looking for your mum, are you? No, I can't see your mum. Anyway, oh, there she is. Whose fault do you think it is?
partly the parents.
So how do you think they could actually resolve bringing their children up like that?
Well, I think if they kept a bit more control over them and kept them indoors and made sure that they came in when they were asked to come in, and in the case of girls, go and collect them like I did with my daughters.
It's got to start from the roots. If the parents don't bring them up right, we've got no chance of it. But if it doesn't start there, well, that's it. I mean...
Can I ask you a question? Did you ever do your national service?
Yeah.
Do you think that's actually a solution to the problem that we have at the moment?
Well, it would be. 2 years in the army, we're doing good, yeah.
So the youth have got no chance with this Tory government. As far as I'm concerned, what they've done to them is immoral. There's no jobs, there's nothing for them. I mean, all these poor kids now, it's terrible what's been done in this country.
Do you think the blame lays firmly with the government?
Squarely on the government with their policy. They want to put everybody out of work and pay them £3 an hour. Even a man of my age can only earn £3 odd an hour, and it's immoral, it's wrong.
Have you had any examples of hooliganism, yobs? Have you come into contact?
Yeah, on our state, where
But
we
if
live.
there was more jobs for people, then they wouldn't do like all vandalism and stuff like that, would they?
So, I mean, some people say it's down to things like entertainment for the kids today.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to do.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. There's no entertainment around here.
Like, there's no like nightclubs or nothing, is there? Like youth clubs. Think about it. It's just like they're just building more houses for more people. There's gonna be more trouble.
What do you think actually caused it? Where does it start?
It starts, I believe, television, films, violence.
So what should we be doing about it? I mean, is it the government's job or is it the parents' job to resolve that?
Parents. Parents' job. Parents shouldn't let the children watch so much violence on TV, so many films that aren't meant for children to watch. Things like that. They get the ideas and then they go out and experiment. And thereby ends a tale.
What causes it, do you think?
I think it's the environment they grow up in. That if the parents treat them that way, then they're treated that way. Then they'll do it to some other people.
I mean, what ways do you think we could resolve it and sort things out? I'll ask you again, I don't mind. I'll stand here, shall I? What way would you resolve it and sort things out, do you feel? How would you stop the kids growing up as into hooligans?
Well, first somebody's got to have words with their parents, like tell them to act better, and if they don't, then the child's just going to grow up in that way again.
I mean, does it worry you? I mean,
No, not particularly. But if I came across somebody like it, well, give them as good back as you could. But other than that, what could you do?
Do you think society's changed a lot since you were a child?
God help us, yes. I'd say it has.
Whose fault do you think it is?
Well, not enough discipline with the parents, with schools, with everything in general. There was discipline when we were kids, real discipline.
So do you think we're, as a society, going just a little bit soft on the kids, are we?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you mean, yob society?
Hooliganism.
Yeah, there is.
The other night on the TV.
You can see there's hooliganism all over the place.
I mean, what do you think is the cause of it?
Nothing to do. Just nothing to do for the people around here. Nothing to do for the kids, definitely not.
So how would you resolve it then?
Well, just, you got to get a campaign up, haven't you, or something, petition. Get someone interested in it.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. You're not beating this child up, are you? We're actually just hold him tightly there for a second. We're doing a little piece on hooliganism, actually.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, do you think there is a problem with a yob culture growing up at the moment?
I don't believe in hooliganism. Don't believe in it.
No?
Nah. We look after our children.
Yeah. This isn't one of yours, then, I take it?
Yeah. But I look after.
Do you think there is a problem, though? I mean, you're a parent, and as they are growing up, does it worry you?
Not really, no. No. Start beating them up.
I don't know what you're going to do with them, honestly. Giving them holidays and all that sort of thing. I think it's most ridiculous. Put your bloody foot down and give them a bloody good idea.
So that's the views of the people of Feltham. Parental control seems to be the most important thing that they feel, and also more things for the youth of today to do. More youth clubs, more bowling areas, more activities for them to get out and do. From a lovely sunny afternoon in Feltham, this is Steve Hyland for WMtv.
Regardless of what we individuals or parents think and do to help the so-called yob culture, technology is definitely catching up with the needs of the 90s. Not only are yobs in public places increasingly likely to be caught on camera, so too are inconsiderate drivers who park in disabled spaces. So you've been warned. Here to talk about the Slough Community Closed Circuit Television, or CCTV for short, is Len Rawlings. Welcome to the studio, Len. It's very kind of you to come in. Now, tell us what actually prompted you to actually get CCTV put into the Slough area.
Well, about 18 months ago, the council came to the conclusion that it had to add closed-circuit television to the list of measures that we were going to take to tackle crime, but in particular fear of crime, both at the town hall and in the town centre. At the town hall, we were then experiencing cars being stolen or broken into almost every other day. The ladies who work for us were frightened, literally, of going to the cars in the car park, especially in the early evenings, and we're getting increasingly scared of that particular sort of trip. And the same was happening in places like Queensmere car park, and walking through the subways to the bus station. And also we were aware that students at the university were being advised by their instructors not to use the subways, but basically to cross the roads.
So you thought that closed-circuit television might actually enable people to have almost a sort of a greater sense of freedom, in actual fact?
We felt that by introducing CCTV, as well as the improvements to the lighting, and that this would make people a lot more safer and a lot more comfortable, and in fact we could overlook what was happening to them, so they could walk through the subways and through the car parks without fear of being sort of harassed.
Right, now you actually had an open day in last week, and we sent a camera crew along to have a look at what's on offer, which we can actually sort of talk through so that people can see what actually is happening at the centre. Now, this is actually a touch screen monitor, as I understand it, and actually this is a way of controlling what cameras are doing. Is that right?
Yes, we deliberately decided to go for a touchscreen monitor because it enabled us to consider employing people who did not have computer skills but could handle the monitors in a way like myself, not being familiar with computers.
And it actually, we can see here the sort of area that it covers, and it's sort of obviously car parks is one of the areas. And I gather there's a story whereby two boys were looking at a car, and one of the people who was actually looking at the camera was able to nod to the camera while they noticed that there was a camera there, and so put them off of having any interference with the car. Is that?
That's certainly true. We've done it at Slough, but I know it's something that happens elsewhere, and in fact sort of girlfriends quite often meet their boyfriends under the camera, and the cameras flick up and down, certainly in Newcastle, and that's a place where they feel safe until their boyfriends arrive.
Yeah, and also we can see there that actually you can sort of home in on registration numbers, and the disabled spots particularly useful if somebody who's not disabled goes and parks in a car parking space.
Certainly in a place like that's the town hall, and visitors are obviously looking around for spaces, and they tend to take the risk of going there. And it's particularly important for the disabled because they can only get wheelchairs around a certain way into the town hall. Right.
So that's obviously this perspective from all around the town hall, and that's actually from within the town hall.
Yes. What has been seen at the moment is looking down into the interview rooms where people do their sort of housing benefits or their rate concerns or whatever. In their interviews, we did have a spate of concerns where the interviewer was being threatened by the interviewee, or whichever way around. And it was made to be, it's a measure we've taken in order to make people more comfortable.
And so I understand it that you actually also have sort of like lapse photography in terms of what's recorded, but you can actually go continuous recording within three seconds if something should be noticed on the monitor, which is quite incredible actually, isn't it?
Well, we use lapse recording for the 37 cameras, other than the one that's running real time
Right.
at the time. But we can switch, as you said, to the others almost immediately.
Now, this is obviously an area of general interest to the public in the sense that it's out of the town hall specifically, and actually sort of goes all around you cover the Brunel bus station, and you actually go around the library, and so obviously people must have a greater sense of security with these monitors here. But I also noticed that there was a shot there where it actually looked at windows. Now, I understand that they can't actually go past a certain point in terms of looking into what you've called privacy zones.
Yes, we certainly have introduced privacy zones on residential properties. So if your cameras had been flagging around the residential properties, the operator could not have actually zoomed in to see what was going on inside. The camera would have, any zooming would have stopped, and in fact the whole thing would have gone out of focus.
Oh, that's excellent. So people don't have to worry that if their sort of their home is within reach of one of those cameras, it's programmed in so that they're not going to actually get viewed.
That is correct.
Right. And also, I understand that the cameras have window wipers on them, like in a car, which I thought was very fascinating. So nobody's actually got to get up there on a ladder and clean them from time to time. It actually does it automatically.
That's quite right. As we rely very heavily on getting the resolution right, then it's important that the lenses are clean. So you have this sort of wiper mechanism.
Now, you've actually got quite a few cameras operating at the moment, but you've actually got the possibility of adding more cameras as actually sort of Slough develops. Is that right?
Yes, the control centre at the moment, we have the ability to add cameras up to 96 in total on the existing facility. We intend in due course to link the leisure buildings, the Montem, the tennis centres and the ice arena. Then our own depots. We are planning to introduce cameras in the new buildings which have been built at the moment, which are the Langley Community Centre and the swimming pool that is about to start down Langley as well.
So that's great. So it's actually able to incorporate all the new developments that are going on in Slough, because if you've got 38 cameras and you can actually take up to 96, there's a lot of potential for actually putting in more cameras as things are, as more and more community facilities are added.
Yeah. Well, certainly the system allows us to go beyond our own, and we've been talking to a number of schools and other public sector organisations as to whether or not we can link into their or provide facilities for them or monitoring for them.
That's great.
And that is certainly the area that we will be concentrating on in the next few months.
That's great. And just also another nice thing that people might like to know is that actually the tapes are kept very, very secure, and as I understand it, they're wiped clean after 30 days if they're of no use to you.
Yes, you're quite right. The tapes will be kept under very secure conditions immediately to come off the recorder, and it'll only be very much authorised people who will be allowed to sort of see them. They'll then be taken away if nothing's happened during that period, and they will be wiped clean by industrial cleaner.
Right.
So there's no way that what was on the original 30 days can actually come up on the second time around.
Right. Thanks very much for coming in, Len, and explaining that to us. Thank you. Now we have an appeal on behalf of Berkshire County Council. They are currently in need of 60 permanent homes for kids from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, as well as homes for children with special needs. The council will be holding open meetings at Shire Hall, Shinfield Park, Reading, on Tuesday 27th of September between 10 and 12 noon and 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesday, October the 4th. If you want to know more about the meetings or what would be involved in fostering, you can contact a family placement team on 0753 690 960, that's 0753 690 960, or 0628 32444, that's 0628 32444. Now it's time to take a break, but coming up in part 2, we'll be taking a look at Windsor's half marathon, the new Maidenhead Arts Centre, 3-to-1's new video, the Cable Corporation competition, and Ben Castle talking about his plans for the future of the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal.
HQ for the best in alternative modern fashions. HQ for the best in travelling and camping equipment. HQ for the best in workwear. HQ for the best quality, the best price, and a superb friendly service. HQ is in Slough, Maidenhead and Reading. HQ, you'll find what you want.
Here are some important points you need to know about the Sweet Shop. The Sweet Shop offers unbeatable style, quality and a range of furniture to suit every taste. A comprehensive home furnishing service, from delightful wallpapers to breathtaking fabrics. All this with superb value and the option of deferred payment or interest-free credit, and as you'd expect, free delivery at your convenience. The Sweet Shop can be found at the Ideal Home Superstore, just off Junction 7 of the M4.
Welcome back to Scene on 7. If you live in the Maidenhead area or are a regular visitor, you might be curious to know what happened to the old barn and when you might be able to see it in its new role as the Maidenhead Arts Centre. Well, curiosity won't have to get the best of you, as Marianne Foster has gone out on location, nay, on site, and found a few answers for us.
I'm at Altwood Road, Maidenhead, standing outside Maidenhead's new Arts Centre, which is still under construction. The site and a substantial donation for this important new project have been given by local resident Alan Bussey. Ian Pankhurst and Associates, a Maidenhead firm of architects, have designed the buildings, and the fundraising and inspiration necessary to provide Maidenhead with its own art centre have come from Philip Love and his team of enthusiastic volunteers. So far, they've raised £750,000, no small task, and WMtv has come along today to find out how local people can become involved and what the centre will have to offer to the community. You're the developer for Maidenhead Arts, and you've generously given the land and this very fine barn for the new art centre. Can you tell me its history?
The barn was originally built, first part of it, in 1709. We've discovered that date on one of the main tie beams in the barn during the restoration. That was half of the barn. The second half was built probably 50 years later. We've now joined the whole building together to form one large building, which is going to be the main part of the building for the Arts Centre.
And I know that you're an expert in restoring old buildings. Have you retained any of the original features in the barn?
60% of the building is retained from its original construction, although the roof was sadly dilapidated with worm and rot over the years, and we've had to replace most of the roof timbers, but other than that, it's virtually original.
Ian, you're the architect for the project. What stages did you go through to finalise on the plans?
Well, when we took on the project, we had a major planning problem in that we were trying to incorporate quite a large building along a group of listed farm buildings and an existing farmyard. And also it was in the middle of a residential area. And clearly all these factors constrained us in our design to some considerable degree. In order to overcome the problem of installing such a large building in a small farmyard with listed buildings, it was necessary to sink the building into the ground, and as a result we've managed to design a building that's relatively low in comparison to the old farm buildings.
And I understand that you need to raise more funds in order to equip the interior of the buildings, particularly the theatre. Have you got specific costings for the seating and lighting and acoustics?
Well, this is a thing where we can spend as much money as we can possibly get, obviously, but we need at least £75,000 for fitting out the theatre with the essential lighting, etc.
And one final question, Ian. When do you expect to finish the building works?
The problem at the moment is, of course, that Phase 2 is not yet fully funded, but we would hope that sometime during 1995 the building will be totally complete, and quite early in 1995 this first phase should be available for use.
Philip, you're chairman of Maidenhead Arts and of the Norden Farm Charitable Trust. Why do you think that Maidenhead needs its own art centre, and what inspired you to get involved?
Maidenhead as a town and the surrounding villages of about 60,000 people already have an umbrella organisation called Maidenhead Arts. and that looks after about 40 different societies, which include drama, music, painting, and so forth. And there's about 3,500 active members already. So that's an awful lot of people already involved in the arts within the Maidenhead area.
Will there be facilities for the handicapped?
Yes, there are. All the entrances are designed to cater for disabled people, and the auditorium itself, the entrance can be entered by a wheelchair, and we also have a disabled toilet. I mean, the facilities. So yes, we have. We take that all into account.
And you've had a lot of support from local people and from local firms, haven't you? But you still need to raise a substantial figure to equip the interior and to get open. How much do you need to raise?
We need about another £50,000 to complete phase 1, which is the bulk of the project, and phase 2, which is the kitting out of the auditorium, will cost about another £375,000.
Money and manpower to raise it are needed to finish Maidenhead's new arts centre. So if there are any viewers out there with bright ideas for fundraising, or any companies prepared to sponsor Maidenhead Arts, please get in touch with Philip Love. This is Mary Ann Foster for WMtv.
And Philip Love's number again for fundraising or donations from individuals or companies is 081 995 5432. And let's hope they manage to raise the money soon so we can see the new Maidenhead Arts Centre programme up and running by the end of next year. Now to things sporty, and I'd like to welcome into the studio the organiser of the Windsor Half Marathon, Alicia Hunt. Alicia, welcome. Very nice to see you here today. Now tell us a little bit about the Windsor Half Marathon. I gather you've got all sorts of different races going on.
It's quite a big day. It's our 13th year, and we have the half marathon, which starts at 1 o'clock. We have a fun run, which starts at 15 minutes after the half marathon. We have a sprite sprint for the under 8-year-olds.
And what does that involve?
It's the littlies, and they run 100 yards.
Oh,
and
right.
It's very serious. And the mums and dads get very fraught. And we have a series of cerebral palsied students from a school in Hertfordshire, Mildred Manor School. About 40 of them are coming, and they do the half marathon.
Do they enjoy that? That must be sort of great
wonderful
fun getting out
time.
and having sort of a race.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are a very, very special ingredient for this event. Yes.
Now tell me, I also gather that in the fun run you've actually got somebody of notoriety.
Indeed. The Right Honourable Christopher Chataway is our guest this year. So anyone out there who hasn't, you can enter the fun run on the day.
Right.
So they can come along and they can boast that they have run with Christopher Chataway.
He's probably getting all these fit and healthy people racing with him.
Right.
And he's not exactly sort of in his youth at the moment now, is he?
No.
Mind you, he'd probably still beat me.
About as old as me.
Yes, I wouldn't. Actually, I don't think I'll enter that competition. I must admit. Now, I also gather that Batman and Robin are going to be turning out.
Yes. The Slough and Windsor District Spastic Society, that's got such a long name, they have sponsored Batman and Robin to come. And in their Batmobile, they will lead the fun run, and then they will be in the Slough Spastics District. Oh dear, the Spastic Society's tent.
Yes.
And they will sign autographs and things.
Right. Now, how many people do you expect to turn up on the day? I gather from like last year, you had loads, and you always get quite a good turnout. And so how many people will you actually be expecting to be there on the day? I gather we've got a picture of the main race from last year.
We've got 3,000 runners in the half marathon.
That looks a spectacular shot there as they go down.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yes, on the long walk there.
You can't enter the half marathon on the day, but up until Saturday we will take entries.
Right. So Saturday the 1st of October is the absolute deadline.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
The race is sponsored by 5 companies in the building industry, but it is not exclusive to the building industry. Everybody is welcome to run. Companies can put in teams, individuals can enter. There are loads of prizes for individuals and for company teams.
Right. Now I gather that the money is actually going to be going to 3 different charities.
That's right.
And that includes the Spastic Society for Cerebral Palsy, Prince Philip Trust
Yes.
Fund, and Crash. Now, tell us a little bit about that.
CRASH is a fairly new charity. It stands for the Construction Industry Relief and Assistance for Single Homeless.
Right.
And it was set up by a consortium of construction industry companies. They find empty buildings, as currently only in London.
Right.
And they provide the accommodation for single people during the winter months, so that those who are currently sleeping rough on the streets will actually have some accommodation available.
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
It's brilliant.
And I gather we've actually got a photograph coming up of what people can expect at 12:30 with the wheelchair race there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they can expect to see if they actually... Oh, that's actually at the end. The finish
Yes,
there. But that's what they can expect to see.
Well, in fact, it's the start and the finish banners.
Oh, right.
On either side of the gantry, so they are start.
Right. I did get it right in the first one.
You did. You did.
Oh, that's great. Well, I hope very much that you have a very good turnout with lots of supporters and lots of runners as well. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
If you can't make the Windsor Half Marathon on the 2nd of October, you might be interested in the Polytechnic Marathon on Sunday the 25th of September. The race starts at 9:45 a.m. at Windsor Castle and ends at Chiswick Bridge. The race is in fact Britain's oldest marathon and the original London Marathon, 76 years old and still going strong. Instead of labelling the youth of today or ignoring them, we're going to listen to them. Well, 4 of them anyway. A new band, 3 to 1, have just released their first single, You Are the Sunshine. And in case you're wondering why they're called 3 to 1, the group includes 3 girls and 1 guy.
When nothing ever seems to go right, you make me
Now it's time for the Cable Corporation competition. The answer to last week's question about the Lennox Lewis-Oliver McCall fight is it will be shown on Wire TV. The winner is Mrs. Jane Moriarty from Langley. Well done, Jane. This week's question is on which cable channel is Blake 7 shown at 6 p.m. each Saturday? Is it A, the Family Channel, B, UK Gold, or C, Sky 1? Call 0891 299 800 if you know the answer. You could win free cable television for a year. Your calls will cost no more than 39 pence per minute cheap rate and 49 pence per minute at all other times. No call will cost more than 75 pence. And I'm sure you'll be glad to know that all money raised will be going to the East Berkshire Children's Appeal. Unfortunately, we can only accept answers that are phoned through, so sorry, Mr. White of Slough, dog and bone, not pen and paper next time. If East Berkshire Children's Appeal is one of your favourite charities, or you just fancy a night of pretend gambling, you might be interested in a charity casino night in aid of raising funds for the appeal. It's on the 7th of October, 8 till midnight, at the Marriott Hotel, Langley. Tickets, which include buffet and dancing, are £15 and available from Sarah Marshall on 081 476 6306. That's 081 476 6306. As I'm sure you are all aware, this month Roy Castle sadly lost his fight against lung cancer, a disease which affects the lives of thousands. To pay tribute to Roy and the work that he and his son Ben have been doing to raise funds for important lung cancer research, Tony O'Rourke went to their home in the WMtv region to talk with Ben Castle.
It took the loss of one of Britain's best-loved television personalities, Roy Castle, to highlight the chronic lack of lung cancer research facilities in the United Kingdom. His family have now taken up where he left off in his crusade to build a lung cancer research centre in Liverpool. I spoke to Roy's son, Ben. Ben Castle, welcome to WMtv. Did you always want to follow in your dad's footsteps?
I believe so. Ever since I was 7 and at school, when people asked me what I wanted to be, it was always between being an actor or a musician or an electrician for some reason. And I'm certainly not going to be an electrician. So, yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in music and drama.
You play the saxophone?
That's right, yes.
You play a few other instruments as well, presumably?
One or two, yes.
What's this thing you're playing in this photograph?
Well, I'm just playing a trumpet in there, a small trumpet. Looks as if we're all playing various different instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a publicity thing that everyone playing as a family.
You're a professional musician now?
I am, yes,
so you
yes.
Gig around the country then?
Yeah, go all over the place, yeah.
With your sax?
Yeah.
And recently you've been playing with your father as well?
Yes, that's right. We've had a wonderful opportunity. We've been working together and we released an album together, which was great, you know, it's a great thing to have done.
Right, what sort of album was that?
Well, it's all different styles of jazz, playing different styles, a bit of big band, trad jazz, modern jazz, all sorts. And we launched the album at Ronnie Scott's club, and it was MD'd by Paul Jones. It was Dad and myself, and there's Les Moyer in that picture, who was the producer of the album.
You're trying to raise £12 million to build a research facility for lung cancer, specifically in Liverpool. Is there not already some kind of facility like that in the UK?
There's plenty of research facility for other cancers and for cancer as a whole, but the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal is wanting to make a lung cancer hospital just for researching lung cancer, the causes of lung cancer and the treatments for lung cancer and things associated. And there's not another one in the world
really?
that deals just with lung cancer.
There are 40,000 new cases of lung cancer in this country alone every year.
Each year, yeah.
And there's nothing like this in the world.
Nothing in the world, no.
That's amazing.
And everybody who contracts the disease, there's only 5% chance of living more than 5 years.
Has the cure rate for lung cancer improved in recent years?
No, in fact, the cure rate hasn't improved since King George VI died of it back in 1952, because they haven't been able to find anything since then.
smoking is a major cause of lung cancer.
That's right. Most cases are directly due to smoking. Out of the 40,000 a year, approximately 4,000 of the cases are in non-smokers, but all the rest are in smokers.
So their cancers may have been induced by passive smoking or urban pollution.
Yes, well, that's what they said for Dad's, for the cause of Dad's cancer, was passive smoking.
Of the £12 million you need to raise, how much have you got already?
It's nearly 2 million that we've raised so far, and if that continues the way it's been going, they'll be ready to lay the first stone in February to start building it, and then gradually, as the money comes in, they can start doing more and more things.
If any of our viewers would like to donate something to the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal, how can they get in touch?
Well, they can make cheques payable to the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal, and I'll give you the address.
Yes.
It's the Roy Castle Cause for Hope appeal, P.O. Box 107, care of Barclays Bank, number 4 Water Street, Liverpool. And a telephone number for inquiries is Liverpool, which is 051 227 3636.
You mentioned earlier that you made an album recently with your father. What was it called?
It's called Ben and Roy Castle's Big Celebration.
Right, available in record shops everywhere.
Well, I hope so, yes. They tell me it is.
Right, and there are a couple of tracks that they're playing on the radio at the moment, aren't they? There's, what are they called?
There's On My Mind, which is one of the more modern pieces, sort of Latin type.
What are you doing on that?
I play sax and flute on that track, and Dad plays flugelhorn.
And there's Be Bold, Be Strong.
That's right. That's I said earlier that there's big band, trad jazz, more modern things, and this is one of the big band things. It's quite a funky thing, and it features Dad singing on it. You probably won't recognise me playing on it. I'm playing as part of the big band, and I did all the arranging for it.
But you're there, aren't you?
But I am there. Oh yes. If you listen very carefully, you'll hear me.
That's the
but
main
I'm not soloing on it or anything. But you'll hear Dad in his element, singing Be Bold, Be Strong.
Come on now, be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. I am not afraid, no, I am not dismayed, for I'm walking in faith and victory. I'm walking in faith and victory, for the Lord your God is with you. Come on now, be bold, come on, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. Yeah, be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. I am not afraid, and I am not dismayed, for I'm walking in faith and victory. Yes, I'm walking in faith and victory, for the Lord your God is with you.
We, of course, wish the Castle family much success in their great campaign to find out more about lung cancer. Well, that's it for another week. Remember all the competitions, the Moving Magazine and our September freebies coming up directly after the programme. If you have anything you'd like to put on the Moving Magazine or any suggestions for WMTV, you can write to us at Sceneon 7, WMTV, P.O. Box 7, Slough, SL3 6ET. And from everyone here at WMTV, thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the programme as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Until next week, take care.